Matthew at Maddie's in Niagara. All right, so we have our cylinder heads back. We got them back from the machine shop today. Again, I cannot stress enough: if you pull cylinder heads or your mechanics pulling heads for any type of reason, whether it be performance parts, anything, head gasket, any type of misfire issue. I have sent these down to my neighbor who has a full machine shop down there. These things are decked flat. They look brand new just about. He goes through the valves, cleans up the seats, cleans up the valves, and then we have the valve seals that are all put in. So he takes these things completely apart, ends up going through, cleaning up the heads, decking them, making sure it is completely flat so that when we get our new multi-layer cylinder head gasket on, in between that and the block, that everything seals properly and we don't have a repeat failure. Now, we weren't doing this on this 5.3 for a head gasket, but again, it's imperative. Anytime those heads are pulled, unless the customer decides not to go through with a little bit of extra money, and I'm talking less than $200 it costs in order to send these babies out, which is extremely reasonable. I'd rather spend less than $200 now than slap this baby back together and then have a head gasket failure or something like that. And if your shop is pulling things apart, again, it is highly recommended to at least have these things checked for flatness and see where it stacks up, because it's a matter of thousandths of an inch that those will be out. I also got the Teflon seals going, getting that installed on both fuel rails, and then we already have the engine block all kind of cleaned up here. I went through this morning, cleaned this up. We make sure that you blow out all your bolt holes. Make sure there's not any residual coolant, oil or anything in there. You make sure that surface is nice and clean, and then we have the lifters already in the board, torqued down, ready to go. So this job's going pretty smooth. Still got a couple other things to dial in next week. But what I wanted to point out was the ultimate failure. So I got in here, and it was the AFM lifter, the intake one on cylinder number 1. Now, normally these AFM lifters, the spring here will be half the size. It'll be in the compressed position. This one is not. So I started looking just to verify. I know what I had. When I pulled the valve cover, we had too much play in the rocker arm, and I was double checking our push rods. Push rods are nice and straight. They're the same length. But what we had here is, if you take the two push rods and you stack them in the lifters, you can visually see the difference. How one push rod, the intake one, is almost a quarter of an, probably like 2 or 3 millimeters shorter than the other one. So I took a closer look inside the bore of this lifter, and you can see the cap is pushed down. It's collapsing internally, hence causing an issue, causing a noise. The good news is, even though it had been making a noise for quite some time for this customer, I've already taken a look at the camshaft lobes. They are in pristine condition. Other things that you'll run into on these roller rocker lifters is you'll have bearings missing on the roller. Sometimes these rollers will get chewed up. I think this is a softer metal than the camshaft, and you'll end up with like a pitted area. And then if it's run like that for an extended period of time, what I see in Dodges and Chevys mainly, it'll take out the camshaft, which turns into a bigger job. And a good thing that we had priced and recommended all the lifters, because when I was pulling the lifters out, this is one of the normal lifters. The cap and everything, seated clips in there, everything's good to go. But we had one of the regular lifters on number 6 or 8. The spring was missing. Portion of the cap was just pulling or falling out when I took that out of the bore. That would have definitely caused an issue down the line. So new lifters are already in this baby. And again, I cannot stress enough, if you have a shop taking cylinder heads off, especially aluminum heads, they should be sending them out to a machine shop to make sure that this is in spec. Because even though we weren't doing this for a head gasket on this job, it could easily turn into a head gasket if it's a few thousandths off and you go to slap it back together and it wasn't checked. So it cost a couple of $100. My neighbor is really reasonable, and like I said, he does a really excellent job going through these heads. They look pretty much brand new coming out and going back on. So we'll continue with this job for a little bit yet today until we take the day off tomorrow and get some time in to do some stuff around the house here. So make it a great Memorial Day weekend.